Most people enter a new year trying to add more. More goals, more habits, more motivation. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Real clarity doesn't come from addition, it comes from subtraction. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind becomes peaceful not by changing the world, but by removing what disturbs it. And as 2026 approaches, the greatest upgrade you can make is not becoming more, but becoming lighter. Lighter in thought, lighter in attachments, lighter in what drains your energy every day. Today, we'll go through 9 things you must cut from your life in 2026 if you want discipline, clarity, and inner strength. Not things that sound dramatic, but things that quietly weaken you over time. This isn't about negativity, it's about precision. Stoicism isn't about escaping life. It's about clearing the noise so you can meet life with strength. If you feel overwhelmed, distracted, or stuck in patterns that no longer serve you, stay with me. Because sometimes the most powerful step forward is knowing exactly what to leave behind. Let's begin. 1. Cut the need to be liked. One of the most dangerous addictions in modern life is the need to be liked. Not respected, not trusted, liked. It hides in small decisions, saying yes when you should say no, softening your truth to avoid discomfort, and staying silent when your values are challenged. At first, it feels harmless, polite, socially intelligent, but over time, it quietly erodes your self-respect. Marcus Aurelius warned against this trap. He reminded himself not to live as if praise were oxygen, because the moment you depend on it, you surrender control of your inner life. When your behavior is guided by approval, you no longer act from principle. You act from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of standing alone. And that fear makes you predictable, which makes you easy to manipulate. Think about it. If someone knows you crave approval, they can pressure you with disappointment. If they know you hate conflict, they can control you with tension. If they know you want to be seen as good, they can exploit your guilt. Stoicism cuts through this illusion cleanly. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to live in alignment with virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote that it is better to be at peace with your own conscience than popular in the eyes of the crowd. Because crowds change, opinions shift, praise fades, but character stays. People with strong inner discipline understand this deeply. They don't chase approval. They accept the cost of integrity. That cost might be being misunderstood, being labeled cold or difficult, losing access to people who benefited from your compliance. And that's okay, because every time you betray your values to be liked, you teach the world how to treat you. And worse, you teach yourself that your principles are negotiable. Here's the practical shift for 2026. Before you say yes, pause and ask, am I doing this out of alignment or out of fear of disapproval? If the answer is fear, stop. You don't need to announce boundaries loudly. You don't need to justify your decisions. A calm no spoken once is stronger than a resentful yes repeated forever. When you cut the need to be liked, something powerful happens. Your words become cleaner, your time becomes protected, your presence gains weight. Not everyone will like you, but the right people will respect you. And more importantly, you will respect yourself. In Stoicism, that is not arrogance, that is freedom. Cut the addiction to approval, and you reclaim authority over your own life. 2. Cut complaining. Without action, complaining feels productive. It sounds intelligent. It creates the illusion that you're aware. But in reality, complaining without action is a form of self-betrayal. Marcus Aurelius warned himself daily about this habit. Not because problems don't exist, but because endless complaint trains the mind to feel powerless. Every time you complain without acting, you reinforce one message internally. I notice what's wrong, but I won't change it. Over time, that message becomes identity. People who complain often believe they are releasing frustration. What they're actually doing is rehearsing helplessness. Stoicism draws a sharp line here. Either the situation is within your control, act, or it's not. Accept it without resentment. Anything in between is wasted energy. Think about the most common complaints. Work is unfair. People are difficult. Life shouldn't be this way. None of those statements move you forward. They drain focus. They poison mood. They spread negativity. Inward first, then outward. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you always have the option to remove your judgment about things. And with it, the complaint disappears, not because the problem vanished, but because your power returned. This doesn't mean suppressing reality. Stoicism is not denial. It means refusing to live in commentary mode instead of command mode. Here's the rule for 2026. Every complaint must earn the right to exist by being followed with action. If you complain about your body, train it. If you complain about your finances, study and adjust. If you complain about people, set boundaries or leave. No action, no complaint. This single rule cleans the mind faster than motivation ever will. Here's the practice. The next time you catch yourself complaining, pause and ask, what is one concrete action this situation requires? If you can't name one, stop talking about it. Silence is cleaner than powerless noise. When you cut complaining without action, something shifts. Your words gain weight. Your thinking sharpens. Your self-respect quietly grows. You stop narrating your life and start directing it. And that is pure stoicism. 3. Cut toxic optimism. Not all positivity is healthy. One of the most subtle things you need to cut from your life in 2026 is toxic optimism, the habit of forcing positivity when clarity is required. This sounds counterintuitive because society praises optimism. Stay positive. Everything happens for a reason. Just think good thoughts. But Marcus Aurelius never taught blind positivity. He taught clear-eyed acceptance. Stoicism does not deny difficulty. It prepares for it. Toxic optimism works like this. You ignore warning signs because you want to stay positive. You dismiss discomfort instead of examining it. You delay hard decisions by hoping things will magically improve. Hope becomes avoidance, and avoidance weakens you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to see things exactly as they are. Not better, not worse. Because when you distort reality, even in a positive direction, you lose the ability to respond intelligently. A man who refuses to acknowledge pain cannot train himself to endure it. A person who pretends everything is fine never builds resilience. Stoicism replaces toxic optimism with something far stronger: mental preparedness. Instead of saying, "It'll all work out," the Stoic asks, "What could go wrong? Am I prepared for it? What response would reflect my character?" This is not pessimism, it's discipline. Think of it like training for a storm. You don't deny the storm, you reinforce the structure. Toxic optimism collapses under pressure because it's built on denial. Stoic strength holds because it's built on truth. Here's the shift for 2026. Stop using positivity to avoid reality. When something feels wrong, examine it. When a situation is difficult, prepare for it. When loss is possible, accept it in advance. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant by inner armor. Here's the practice. Once a day, ask yourself, what am I avoiding by telling myself everything is fine? Then face that thing calmly, without drama, without despair. When you cut toxic optimism, you gain something far more valuable. Emotional stability, clear judgment, quiet confidence under pressure. You don't need false hope. You need readiness. And readiness, not optimism, is what makes a person unshakable. 4. Cut unnecessary arguments. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. One of the fastest ways to drain your mind is engaging in arguments that change nothing. Unnecessary arguments don't sharpen truth. They inflate ego. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that most disputes are not about virtue or justice, but about pride, impatience, or the need to be right. And every time you argue from ego, you trade peace for noise. Think about how arguments usually unfold. Someone challenges your view. You feel the urge to defend. The conversation shifts from understanding to winning. At that point, the goal is no longer clarity, it's dominance. Stoicism draws a clear boundary here. You're not obligated to attend every argument you're invited to. Many arguments are traps. They pull you into emotional reactivity, drain your focus, and leave you restless long after the conversation ends. Calm people recognize this early. They ask, will this improve my character? Will this change anything meaningful? Or is this just a contest of egos? If it's the last one, they disengage. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It means choosing where your energy belongs. Marcus Aurelius wrote that tranquility comes from directing attention only to what truly matters. Arguments rarely meet that standard. Here's the rule for 2026. If a conversation requires you to raise your voice, harden your tone, or betray your values just to win, it's already too expensive. Silence is not surrender. It's selection. You protect your mind by refusing unnecessary conflict. Here's the practice. The next time you feel pulled into an argument, pause and ask, is my character improved by continuing this? If the answer is no, step back. When you cut unnecessary arguments, your thoughts become clearer, your energy returns, your presence grows heavier. You stop wasting strength on noise and reserve it for what actually builds your life. That is Stoic discipline in action. 5. Cut overconsumption, information, entertainment, comfort. Most people think they're exhausted because life is hard. In reality, they're exhausted because they consume too much. Too much information, too much entertainment, too much comfort disguised as rest. Marcus Aurelius warned that what you allow into your mind eventually becomes the shape of your life. Your attention is not neutral, it's formative. Every scroll, every video, every piece of noise trains your nervous system, not toward strength, but toward constant stimulation. Overconsumption weakens discipline in 3 ways. First, it fragments focus. Your mind jumps from topic to topic, never staying long enough to build depth. Second, it dulls motivation. When pleasure is constant, effort feels unbearable. Third, it creates mental clutter. You're informed, entertained, and distracted, but not directed. Stoicism is radical here. Consume less, act more. Marcus Aurelius didn't warn against knowledge. He warned against distraction masquerading as wisdom. Reading without application is not learning. Watching without doing is not rest. Calm, disciplined people are ruthless with inputs. They ask, does this strengthen my character? Does this move my life forward? Or does it simply help me avoid discomfort? If it's avoidance, they cut it. Here's the rule for 2026. For every hour you consume, you must produce something, even small. Think, write, train, reflect, act. This restores balance. Here's the practice. For 1 week, reduce one category of consumption by 50%. News, social media, streaming. Junk food, then observe what returns. You'll notice more silence, more restlessness at first, then clarity. Because overconsumption doesn't relax you, it numbs you. When you cut excess input, your mind regains hunger. And hunger, when disciplined, is the engine of growth. This is Stoic simplicity, not deprivation, but precision. 6. Cut relationships that drain your energy. Not every relationship is meant to last. and not every connection deserves continued access to your life. One of the hardest, yet most necessary, cuts you must make in 2026 is letting go of relationships that quietly drain your energy. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. He reminded himself that character is shaped by environment, and that constant exposure to disorder slowly erodes inner discipline. Draining relationships aren't always dramatic or abusive. That's what makes them dangerous. They show up as conversations that leave you exhausted, people who constantly complain but never change, subtle disrespect disguised as humor, emotional dependence that never resolves. You feel tired, irritated, or diminished, but you tell yourself you're overreacting. Stoicism rejects that confusion. The Stoic question is simple. Does this relationship strengthen my character or weaken it? If the answer is weakening, distance is not cruelty. It's self-respect. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you don't need to hate people to step away from them. You only need clarity. Calm people don't cut ties loudly. They don't accuse or dramatize. They don't announce boundaries with speeches. They reduce exposure, less time, less explanation, less emotional availability. And over time, the relationship either corrects itself or fades naturally. Here's the rule for 2026. You don't owe unlimited access to people who drain you. Presence is earned, not automatic. Here's the practice. After spending time with someone, ask yourself one question. Do I feel stronger or weaker? That answer never lies. When you cut draining relationships, your energy stabilizes, your focus improves, your patience returns. You don't become lonely, you become selective. And selection is the foundation of a disciplined life. Stoicism teaches this clearly. Protect your inner peace first. Everything else follows. 7. Cut living in the past. One of the quietest ways people sabotage their present is by living somewhere else mentally. In the past, regret, resentment, old conversations replayed endlessly, mistakes you wish you could undo. Marcus Aurelius was brutally clear about this. The past has no power over you unless you give it attention. Yet most people do exactly that. They relive old injuries as if repetition will somehow fix them. They rehearse arguments that are already over. They carry versions of themselves that no longer exist, and all of that steals energy from the only place life actually happens: now. Stoicism doesn't ask you to forget the past. It asks you to stop residing there. Marcus Aurelius wrote that pain doesn't come from events themselves, but from the mind's insistence on revisiting them. The memory of pain often hurts more than the original event. Living in the past creates two illusions: that things should have gone differently, that you can still change what's already finished. Both weaken your ability to act today. Calm, disciplined people learn to extract the lesson, then close the file. They don't romanticize the past. They don't punish themselves with it. They treat it as information, not identity. Here's the rule for 2026. If a thought does not help you act better now, it doesn't deserve space. Here's the practice. When a past-focused thought appears, ask, what does this require of me in the present? If the answer is nothing, let it go. If the answer is action, take it. Reflection is useful. Rumination is decay. When you cut living in the past, your attention sharpens, your emotions settle, your sense of agency returns, you stop dragging old weight into new days. Stoicism teaches this with clarity. The present moment is enough, if you are fully inside it. 8. Cut comfort as a priority. Comfort is not evil, but when comfort becomes your highest priority, it quietly makes you fragile. Marcus Aurelius never warned against rest. He warned against avoiding difficulty. Modern life is designed to keep you comfortable. Convenience over effort, distraction over discipline, ease over growth, and slowly, without noticing, your tolerance for discomfort shrinks. When discomfort feels unbearable, discipline collapses. Stoicism takes the opposite approach. Strength comes from voluntary discomfort. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to get out of bed even when it felt unpleasant. Not because suffering was noble, but because avoiding effort trains weakness. Comfort as a constant priority creates a dangerous pattern. You delay hard conversations, you avoid physical exertion, you postpone difficult decisions. Not because you can't handle them, but because you've trained yourself not to. Calm, disciplined people reverse this trend deliberately. They choose small, controlled discomforts, training when motivation is low, sitting with silence instead of stimulation, doing the hard task first, not last. These aren't acts of punishment, they are acts of preparation, because life does not ask permission before becoming difficult. Here's the rule for 2026. If you always choose what's easiest, you'll be unprepared for what's inevitable. Stoicism doesn't demand extreme suffering. It demands regular resistance. Here's the practice. Each day, choose one thing that's slightly uncomfortable and do it on purpose. Wake up earlier, train harder, have the honest conversation. Sit with boredom instead of reaching for distraction. Nothing dramatic, just consistent. When you cut comfort as a priority, your resilience increases, your confidence stabilizes, your fear of difficulty fades. You stop needing perfect conditions to act. Marcus Aurelius understood this clearly. The obstacle is not in the way. It is the way. Comfort makes life feel easier today. Discipline makes life survivable tomorrow. Cut comfort from the top of your hierarchy and place character there instead. 9. Cut waiting for the right time. Waiting for the right time is one of the most convincing lies the mind tells itself. It sounds responsible, it sounds patient, it sounds wise. But most of the time, it's just fear wearing a reasonable mask. Marcus Aurelius was relentless about this. He reminded himself that life is happening now, not after conditions improve, not after confidence arrives, not after certainty appears. The right time is an illusion created by discomfort. People delay action because they don't feel ready. They're afraid of failing publicly. They want guarantees life never offers, so they wait. And while they wait, time keeps moving without them. Stoicism cuts through this excuse brutally. You don't find time, you decide. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you could leave life at any moment. That awareness wasn't meant to cause anxiety. It was meant to create urgency. Waiting weakens momentum. Action creates it. Calm, disciplined people don't wait for perfect conditions. They act with what they have, where they are. They understand this principle. Clarity comes after action, not before it. If you wait to feel confident, you'll wait forever. If you act while uncertain, confidence follows. Here's the rule for 2026. If something matters to you, health, work, character, relationships, begin before you feel ready. Start small, start imperfectly. But start. Here's the practice. Ask yourself this question. If I had only 1 year left, would I still be waiting? The answer reveals everything. When you cut waiting for the right time, momentum replaces hesitation. Self-trust replaces doubt, regret loses its grip. You stop living in preparation mode and start living in execution mode. Marcus Aurelius understood this truth clearly. The time to live well is now, not later, not someday, now. Cut delay from your life, and you reclaim the only moment you ever truly own. Cut to rise. As you move toward 2026, remember this. A stronger life is not built by adding more noise, more goals, more pressure. It's built by cutting what weakens you. You've just identified 9 things that quietly drain clarity, discipline, and self-respect. The need to be liked, complaining without action. Toxic optimism, unnecessary arguments, overconsumption, draining relationships, living in the past. Comfort as a priority, waiting for the right time. None of these are dramatic. That's why they're dangerous. Marcus Aurelius never sought an easier life. He sought a cleaner mind, one free from excess, distraction, and self-inflicted suffering. Stoicism isn't about becoming less human. It's about becoming less controlled by what doesn't matter. When you subtract what drains you, what remains is strength. Not loud strength, not performative strength, but quiet, grounded, unshakable strength. As you step into 2026, don't ask, "What should I add to my life?" Ask instead, "What must be removed so my best self can finally stand?" Choose one thing from this list. Cut it, calmly, deliberately, without announcement. That single decision may change the entire year ahead. If this message helped you think more clearly, support the channel by liking and subscribing. More Stoic clarity is coming. And remember this final truth: you don't rise by accumulation, you rise by precision. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and move forward, lighter than before.